A. Promises.
If you promise someone the Earth or the Moon, you promise them a great deal. It is usually implied that such a promise is unrealistic. For example, the afternoon promises to be interesting. To anticipate something is to expect it before it happens. Promise can also be used to indicate positive future development. For example, the child already shows great promise as a violinist.
She's a promising artist, although her style is still rather immature.
An oath, or to swear, is a formal promise. In court, witnesses are put on or under oath when they have to swear to tell the truth. Notice how swear is often used in informal spoken English in expressions.
I could have sworn I left my purse on the table.
I think she lives on Rose Street, but I couldn't swear to it.
My mother swears by these vitamin pills.
Tom often uses swear words. Tom often uses bad language.
To pledge, a pledge, means to promise something, often friendship or money.
Mayor Williams has pledged millions of dollars to improve the city centre.
To vow, a vow, is to make a determined decision or promise to do something.
He vowed to discover who had killed his father.
At a marriage ceremony, the couple exchange vows. Both vow and pledge are found more in written than spoken English. New Year's resolutions are special promises to turn over a new leaf at the beginning of a new year. Resolutions and vows, like promises or pledges, can be made, kept, or broken. If you go back on your word, you break a promise.
B. Bets. To bet, a bet is to risk something, usually money, on the unknown result of something, in the hope of winning more money. People spend and lose a lot of money betting on horse racing or football matches, for example. Putting money on the results of a game of some kind is called gambling. The amount of money that you risk is your stake. You can stake a sum of money on something happening. If something is at stake, then it is at risk.
Many lives will be at stake if the flood barrier is not built.
A more formal word for bet is wager.
She put a wager of £10 on a horse.
Both words can be used in a non-literal sense.
I'd wager that he will come to a bad end.
There are a number of informal expressions connected with betting. Your best bet would be to look for a part-time job.
You think Stuart will win? Don't bet on it.
My granny enjoys having a flutter on the horses.
I'd put good money on James getting the job. I'd bet my life on James getting the job.
Do you feel like coming to the beach with us?
You bet.
You can also hedge your bets by investing in several companies.
The odds are the statistical or betting chances of something happening.
What are the odds of Olivia finishing her course, do you think?
The odds are against her getting that promotion. A. Looking back. Sharing memories.
It's great to see you again. Gosh, it's 10 years since we were at school together. Any idea what the school is like these days?
No, I've been a bit out of touch with things ever since I moved away from London.
I wonder what became of that maths teacher. I think his name, if I recall, was Mr. Sanderson. When I think back, I realise now how difficult things must have been for him having to teach the likes of us. And do you ever hear anything of James?
No, I haven't heard a thing.
And I often wonder what Sanjay ended up doing. I've lost touch with him too. Thinking back, we had some great times, didn't we?
Yeah. Seeing your phone there reminds me of how we used to text under our desks right under the teacher's nose.
Yeah, that takes me back to the day my phone rang when a school inspector was observing our class and I got into big trouble.
Yes, I have a vague memory of that. Actually, it's all coming back to me now. They confiscated your phone and you stormed out of the classroom.
Yeah. But I must say that what stands out in my mind is the amazing freedom we used to have.
Me too. When I look back, I realise how much things have changed.
Yes. I often find myself reminiscing about my teenage years and wonder if our children will have the same happy memories when they grow up.
Yes, we all tend to look at the past through rose-tinted spectacles, don't we? But I guess a bit of nostalgia does nobody any harm.
B. Expressing regret.
I regret not spending more time with my aunt when she was ill.
He showed no sign of remorse for what he had done.
She said she felt great shame for what had happened and apologised to us all.
I felt great pangs of guilt and remorse thinking of all the bad things that had happened and my part in them.
Some formal, rather literary ways of expressing regret.
I rue the day we ever met.
I lament the passing of time.
I mourn my lost opportunities.
A. Agreement. Sharing views.
Her complaints tally with the comments we have received from other people.
Match or agree with.
His opinion concurs with the general opinion of the experts on this matter.
Share or agree with an idea or opinion.
The President found herself in full accord with the opposition.
Be in complete agreement with.
Your views coincide with mine on the question of crime and punishment.
Be the same as.
His behaviour doesn't conform to the school's expectations.
Fit in with.
My parents approve of my choice of profession and support me fully.
Think something is right or good. The noun from approve is approval. An action can meet with someone's approval. Note the expression to agree to differ, which is used when people continue to hold different opinions, but see no point in continuing to argue about them.
We couldn't reach a consensus at the meeting, so we just agreed to differ.
B. Political and social disagreement.
There is dissent in the party on the issue.
Opposition to the accepted way of thinking.
The general discord between the committee members had a negative impact on the club.
Lack of agreement or harmony. Suggests arguments and rows.
The growing rift in the Democratic Party over defence policy is now public.
Disagreement. With different groups or factions forming.
A major split in the Labour Party resulted in several ministers taking the decision to form a new party of their own.
When a larger group breaks up into two or more smaller groups because they disagree about something.
There is major division in the Socialist Party over economic policy. There is a major division in the Socialist Party over economic policy.
Similar to split, but more abstract and formal. Can be countable or uncountable.
Government plans to build a new airport in this area are bound to cause controversy.
A lot of disagreement about a subject, usually because it affects a lot of people. C. Compromise.
The two sides have reached a compromise over the plan to build a new road across a nature reserve.
The minister was not prepared to compromise on the issue of raising university fees.
The government made several concessions to the protesters.
The management and the union reached a settlement and the strike ended.
In this particular case, we should exercise some discretion and not say anything that would cause more conflict.
A. Presenting arguments and commenting on others' work.
If you advocate something, you argue in favour of it. For example, he advocated capital punishment. If you deduce something, you reach a conclusion by thinking carefully about the known facts. For example, look at these sentences and see if you can deduce how the imperfect tense is used. If you infer something, you reach a conclusion indirectly. For example, from contemporary accounts of his research, we can infer that results were slower to come than he had anticipated. If someone's work complements someone else's, it combines well with it so that each piece of work becomes more effective. For example, Ellswick's 2016 research complements that of Johnson, 2012. If someone's work overlaps with someone else's work, it partially covers the same material. You might call someone's work empirical, ambiguous, coherent, comprehensive, authoritative.
B. Talking about figures and processes.
If figures are referred to as arbitrary, they are based on chance or personal choice rather than a system or data that supports them. Figures that deviate from the norm are different from what is typical. If statistics distort the picture, they give a false impression. If you refer to the incidence of something, for example, a disease, you are talking about how often it occurs. If something, for example, the incidence of brown eyes, is predominant, it is the largest in number. If things, for example, stages in a process, happen in sequence, they happen in a particular order. If you want to say that something happens in many places or with many people, you can say that it is widespread. For example, widespread outbreaks of an illness, widespread alarm.
C. Words typically used in academic contexts. Verbs.
Academic, append. Every day, add at the end. Academic, conceive. Every day, think up. Academic, contradict. Every day, go against. Academic, demonstrate or indicate. Every day, show. Academic, denote. Every day, be a sign of, stand for. Academic, negate. Every day, make useless, wipe out. Academic, perceive. Every day, see. Academic, reflect upon. Every day, think about. Academic, reside. Every day, lie, live. Academic, trigger. Every day, cause. Academic, utilize. Every day, use.
Expressions.
Academic, an instance of something. Every day, an example of something. Academic, the converse. Every day, the opposite. Academic, crucial. Every day, very important. Academic, notwithstanding. Every day, despite this. Academic, somewhat. Every day, rather. Academic, thereby. Every day, in this way. Academic, whereby. Every day, by which method.
A. Explaining, reinforcing, exemplifying. Look at these extracts and note the context in which the words in bold occur.
The Prime Minister reiterated her concern that the debate should not be dominated by personal attacks. She summarised the new policy as being progressive and radical.
Peter Burnett's comments epitomise the attitude of many parents nowadays in asserting that schools are to blame for antisocial behaviour among children and that
It was a philosophy first expounded by John Ruskin in the 19th century. If human
The recent events underscore the need for a better understanding of the environmental impact of biotechnology. If this phase in the
Several scientists have posited a link between climate change and bird migration patterns.
In an attempt to account for the lack of interest, political analysts have looked at past voting patterns on the basis of
B. Categorizing and including.
Chinese visitors comprised 70% of the hotel's guests last year. Chinese visitors made up 70% of the hotel's guests last year.
The course is comprised of two elements, reading and writing.
These two approaches can be subsumed under one heading.
The book embraces a number of issues, from economic to religious ones.
Her philosophy is difficult to categorize.
C. Structuring the text. Here are some words and expressions for ordering and arranging the parts of an essay.
Beginning. I should like to preface my argument with a true story. Mapping out the text. I shall return to this point later in my essay. Connecting points. This brings me to my next area of discussion, which is finance. This brings us to my next area of discussion, which is finance. Focusing. I should now like to address the question of the arms race. Ordering points. The arguments are presented in ascending order of importance. The arguments are presented in descending order of importance. Quoting, or referring. The ideas of several writers will be cited in support of the argument. The text alludes to several themes that need closer examination. Including or excluding material, there will only be space to touch upon the big question of political responsibility. It is impossible to deal with all the issues in this short essay. Discussion of the roots of the problem is beyond the scope of this essay. Drawing conclusions. We are forced to conclude that unemployment will always be with us.
A. Aspects of writing.
If you're in a hurry, you can scribble a note to someone. A note is likely to be in a more chatty style than, say, a business letter.
I'll just jot down, informal, your phone number before I forget it. I'll just make a note of, more formal, your phone number before I forget it.
She got so bored at the meeting, she spent the whole time doodling.
I'll copy out the information on hotels for you.
I'm just drafting an application letter for that job I told you about.
Some students write down everything the lecturer says.
She's writing up her dissertation at the moment, so she's very tired and stressed.
She bought the manuscript of a famous poem at the sale.
B. Type and print.
Learning to touch type was one of the most useful things I've ever done.
I've finished my book. I'll email the typescript to the publisher tomorrow.
I'll run you off a copy at the same time.
I've done the text, but I want to format it properly before printing it.
I usually cut and paste or copy and paste bits of material from my notes when I'm writing an essay, then link them all together.
The letters and numbers on a keyboard can all be called characters. A password often needs to be at least 8 characters, for example. These words are in bold, and these words are italicized. These words are in bold, and these words are in italics. These words are in a shaded box. These words are in a different font size from the rest, and these words are in a different font or typeface. This sentence is in double inverted commas. This sentence is in double quotation marks. This one is in single quotation marks. This one is in single quotes. This sentence is indented. This sentence has 2 asterisks in front of it. This sentence has a bullet point in front of it. Types of brackets: round brackets, diamond or angle brackets, square brackets, curly brackets. Capitals or uppercase, more technical, is the opposite of small letters or lowercase. This person has written her name in block capitals. Monica Keeble. This is the first page of an academic book. Look at the structure and the names of the different elements. The numbers on the extract are in superscript.
A. Vague and general words. In informal speech, we make frequent use of rather vague words and words with many different or rather general meanings, like thing or get. That's one of the things I want to talk to him about.
Laura has got a thing about mice.
Don't make such a big thing of it.
There wasn't a thing we could do about it.
For one thing, I haven't got time. For another thing, I can't afford it.
The thing is, I have to take my car for a service tomorrow morning.
As things are at present,
I don't get what you're saying.
We must get that parcel in the post today.
She had big plans to travel the world, but she just never got it together.
Jill will get things sorted today. Jill will get things sorted out today.
I hope I can get her to myself this evening.
B.
When you can't think of the word. When we can't remember a word or name, we often replace it with a vague word.
For objects: thingy, thingamy, thingamajig, thingamabob. What's it? Whatchamacallit? Whatnot.
Have you seen the thingy we use for keeping the door open?
For people, what's his name? For a man. What's her name? For a woman.
Did you see what's his name today?
Note that these words can be written in different ways. It is also possible to use thingy for either a man or a woman.
I was talking to Thingy about that yesterday.
C. Quantifiers. Some quantifiers are common in informal speaking but are rare in formal writing. For example, the following expressions mean a lot of: bags of, a load of, loads of, a mass of, masses of, dozens of, tons of, umpteen.
I can help you. I've got bags of time.
They can afford to go on expensive holidays as they've got loads of money.
I've tried phoning her umpteen times, but she never seems to answer her mobile. These expressions mean a little or some. A bit of, a scrap of.
I've got a bit of a headache.
You've been sitting there all day, but you haven't done a scrap of work.
D. Being indirect and less threatening. Here are some expressions which we can use in speech to make what we are saying sound less threatening and potentially offensive to the person we are talking to.
It's not the most practical thing you've ever done. It's not the most sensible thing you've ever done. It's not the most intelligent thing you've ever done. It's not the most appropriate thing you've ever done.
It's not the most practical idea, and I mean that in the nicest possible way.
No offence intended, but I think you've misunderstood the basic problem.
If you don't mind me saying so, I think that you could have handled that better. If you don't mind my saying so, I think that you could have handled that better.
I gather you feel upset by the recent changes in the office.
Incidentally, have you paid your money for the club outing yet?
What a load of idiots. Present company accepted, of course.
The staff here, myself included, have not been working quite as hard as we should.
The words and phrases in this unit are mostly for informal conversation, except where indicated, and may sound inappropriate in more formal contexts.
A. Vague expressions for numbers and quantities.
He left a sum in excess of $1 million when he died.
It'll cost you somewhere in the region of £900 a month to rent a flat.
It'll take 5 hours, give or take half an hour, to drive there.
The second meeting is approximately 2.5 months after the first one.
It'll take a week or so to get the computer repaired.
Quite a few students hadn't registered.
There was only a smattering of women authors among the prize winners.
Would you like a dash of chili sauce with your kebab? Would you like a smidgen of chili sauce with your kebab?
I'd like a dollop of ice cream with my fruit salad.
I used to have stacks of CDs with my files on, but now I have them all on one memory stick.
B. Making things less precise in informal conversation. More or less is often used with verbs and adverbs to make things more vague. I think we've more or less solved the problem with the computer now.
My English is more or less the same level as the other students in the class.
A bit and a bit of a are used with adjectives and nouns to soften the meaning.
I'm a bit fed up with all the complaints I'm getting.
We were in a bit of a panic when we heard there was a strike at the airport.
Or whatever, or something, things like that and that kind of thing are useful expressions for referring vaguely to things and actions. You could work on Saturday, then spend Sunday going to museums or galleries or whatever.
If you don't want tea, have a lemonade or something.
In the evenings we played board games and things like that. In the evenings we played board games and that kind of thing.
We need a big container made of plastic. A dustbin or something along those lines would do.
He said he was fed up with all the attacks and criticisms, or words to that effect. A. Verbs denoting volume, from quiet to loud. Mumble and mutter are both usually negative.
Stop mumbling. I can't hear what you're saying.
He was muttering something under his breath, probably complaining as usual.
Murmur can be more positive.
They murmured their approval when he told them the plan.
The phrase without a murmur means without any protest, complaint or comment.
They accepted it all without a murmur. I was surprised. Normally they argue about everything.
Raise your voice can be used in positive or negative contexts. You'll have to raise your voice a bit. She's a little hard of hearing.
Don't you raise your voice at me.
Shout, yell, scream, roar, and shriek are all followed by at.
Don't shout at me.
Yell often conveys urgency, anger, frustration. It is also used when there is much surrounding noise.
He yelled at the children to stop messing around with his computer.
Stay where you are, he yelled above the noise of the traffic. Shriek means loud and very high-pitched. It can be used in positive and negative contexts.
Oh, wow! That's fantastic, she shrieked.
Roar suggests very loud volume, but deeper pitched, like a lion. It is used in positive and negative contexts.
The crowd roared as he kicked the ball into the back of the net.
How dare you come in here, he roared angrily.
B. Verbs describing speech and styles of conversation.
Tom and Lily are always nagging each other. Tom and Lily are always nagging at each other.
Stop bickering over who sits by the window, you two.
They spent all evening slagging off their colleagues.
Jessie is always whining and whinging.
He's been chatting away on the phone all morning.
We always gossip about work when we go out together.
It took him a long time to realise they were winding him up.
I realised she was buttering me up.
Rick tends to exaggerate his problems, so don't take him too literally.
Meg is inclined to generalise on the basis of her very limited experience.
C. Speech and articulation problems.
She speaks with a lisp. She lisps. She says thing instead of sing.
Difficulty in making an S sound and making a th sound instead.
He hates speaking in front of people because he's got a really bad stammer.
Speak with abnormal pauses and repetitions.
I want to tell you something, she stuttered nervously.
Repeat sounds at the beginning of words. He was slurring his words because he had drunk far too much alcohol. His words had a slow, lazy sound, difficult to understand.
I want to tell her I love her, but I get tongue-tied.
Cannot say what I want to say because of nerves. That is, emotional rather than physical problem affecting speech. A. Abbreviations pronounced as individual letters.
E.g., for example, from exempli gratia, Latin.
I.e., that is, from id est, Latin.
AD, the year of our Lord, from Anno Domini, Latin, used in the Christian calendar to count years since the birth of Christ. Many people prefer CE as an alternative.
BC, before Christ, used to count the years before the birth of Christ. Many people prefer BCE.
EU, European Union.
ID, identity document.
NB, note well, from nota bene, Latin, used as a warning or to point out something important.
IQ, intelligence quotient. A way of measuring people's intelligence using a system of numbers.
PTO, please turn over.
USB, Universal Serial Bus, a type of connection between a computer and an electronic device.
FAQ, frequently asked questions.
ASAP, as soon as possible.
VIP, very important person. RSVP, please reply. Used on invitations, from French. Répondez s'il vous plaît.
UFO, unidentified flying object, often used to talk about an alien spaceship.
B. Shortened and blended words. Bedsit, a flat with only one room which is a bedroom and a sitting room. Sitcom, short for situational comedy, a kind of humorous TV program. Sci-fi, science fiction. Info, information. Biodata, biographical data, details about someone's life, job, and achievements. Biopic, biographical picture, a film about the life of a real person. Wi-Fi, wireless fidelity, wireless connection for computers and electronic communications. C. Acronyms. Some abbreviations are acronyms. That is, they are formed from the first letters, or occasionally syllables, of a word or series of words, and are pronounced as a word.
AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome. NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. PIN, personal identification number, used on credit cards, bank cards and so on. VAT, value-added tax, a kind of tax on goods, pronounced VAT or VAT.
D. Abbreviations used in academic writing and bibliographies.
Fig, figure. A picture or drawing, often with a number, in a book or other document. Example, See Fig 2. Ed, plural eds. Editor or editors, often used in bibliographical references. P, plural pp. Page or pages. Examples: see P26, see pp 58 to 61. From page 58 to page 61. CF, compare. Example: Carter, 1997, investigated core vocabulary. CF, Lee, 1987. Et al. And others. Used in bibliographical references to refer to a book or article with several authors, usually 3 or more. Example: O'Keefe et al. 2010 discuss this problem.
A. Common prefixes.
in, in, and its variations im, im, il, ear, can make a word negative, as in inappropriate, incapable, inaccuracy, inability, and imperfect. Miss, means wrongly or badly. For example, misbehave and misuse. Out, suggests being greater or better than something. For example, outnumber and outweigh. Re, has the meaning of do again, as in reconsider, redevelop, and rethink. E has the meaning of electronic, as in e-commerce, e-reader, and e-cigarettes. Eco, has the meaning of good for the environment, as in eco-friendly cleaning products, an eco-city, and an eco-warrior.
B. Preposition-based prefixes. Over may indicate A, an excess of something, B, being above something, or C, going across something. A, excess. That film was overrated in my view.
It was a bad restaurant with an overpriced menu.
B, above.
Several of our neighbours' large trees overhang our garden.
Our garden is overshadowed by the block of flats next door.
She always felt overshadowed by her older, more successful sister. C, across.
He overstepped the mark when he said that.
Will you be staying overnight?
Under. May indicate A, less than the desired amount, B, something below another thing, or C, some kind of negative behaviour. A, less.
Don't underestimate the time it will take.
The company is seriously understaffed. B, below.
It's quite wet underfoot. Did it rain last night?
The underlying question is a very difficult one.
C, negative.
I wish you would not undermine everything I do.
He did it in a very underhand way. Up can suggest a change of some kind, often positive.
The airline upgraded me to business class.
There has been an upturn in the economy.
C, less frequent prefixes.
con or com often suggests mixing things together, often in verbs of communication. For example, converse, commiserate, condolences, congeal, contaminate. pro can often suggest pushing something forward or increasing it. For example, promote, proliferate, procrastinate, procreate. can give the idea of something coming out of something. For example, they were ejected from the restaurant for bad behaviour.
The machine emitted a loud noise and then stopped working.
A. Productive suffixes.
Many suffixes, and prefixes too, are productive. You might feel adventurous enough to try coining some words of your own. The meaning of the example words below is clear from the meanings of the root and the suffix.
Able can be used productively, whereas able never is. It combines with verbs to form adjectives. Note that able means can be, a washable jacket, disposable nappies, predictable results, avoidable problems, a manageable situation.
Conscious combines with nouns to form adjectives that describe people who consider one aspect of their lives especially important. Health-conscious person, class-conscious society, safety-conscious company, time-conscious workforce.
Free combines with nouns describing something undesirable to form adjectives to describe nouns without that undesirable aspect. Stress-free life, tax-free shop, additive-free food.
Rich combines with nouns, often chemical or organic substances, to form adjectives to describe nouns with a lot of that substance. Fibre-rich diet, calcium-rich foods.
Lead combines with nouns and nationality adjectives to form adjectives describing things that are controlled or influenced by the original noun or nationality. Community-led initiative, student-led protest, worker-led uprising.
Minded combines with adjectives or nouns to form new adjectives describing people with particular characters, opinions, or attitudes. Like-minded friends, career-minded young women, money-minded managers, high-minded.
Proof combines with nouns to form adjectives describing things that can resist the damage or difficulty caused by that noun. Oven-proof dish, waterproof jacket, soundproof room, idiot-proof instructions.
Related combines with nouns to form adjectives to describe one thing as connected with another. Stress-related absence from work, age-related illness.
Ridden combines with nouns to form adjectives describing people or things with a lot of that noun. Guilt-ridden person, crime-ridden city, bedridden.
Worthy combines with nouns to form adjectives that describe people or things that merit whatever the original noun refers to. Newsworthy incident, praiseworthy action, praiseworthy pupil.
B. Suffixes in different word classes.
Lee is not only an adverb ending, it also forms quite a few adjectives. For example, lively children, costly holiday, leisurely walk, miserly man.
Unt is most familiar as an adjective ending, but it can also make nouns from verbs to describe a person. An applicant for a job, an insurance claimant, a police informant, a quiz contestant, an occupant of a house.
N makes adjectives from nouns, but it also makes verbs from adjectives. To moisten your lips, to sweeten tea. A situation worsens, a face reddens.
A. Common well-established word parts.
Many literary or academic words in English are formed using Latin and ancient Greek prefixes and roots. Many English speakers are not aware of the meanings of the word parts listed here, but knowing them can help you to understand and remember new words.
Auto. Self. For example, an autonomous region.
Bio. Life, living things. For example, biodegradable packaging.
Cyber. Relating to computers and robots. For example, a cyber cafe.
D. Opposite action. For example, demotivate.
Mono. Single. One. For example, monocycle.
Graph. Writing. For example, a monograph.
Gress. Step. Walk. Go. For example, a congress.
Ix. An area of study or knowledge. For example, obstetrics.
Phone. Sound. For example, phonetics.
Ology. Study. For example, criminology.
Pre. Before. For example, prepaid tickets.
Retro. Back. Backwards. For example, retroactive law.
Techno. Relating to advanced machines. For example, technophobia.
Tele. Over a distance. For example, telepathic experience.
B. Blends.
An interesting, if much less common way of forming words is by combining two well-established words. For example, brunch is a meal that is a combination of breakfast and lunch.
Heliport. A place where helicopters can land and take off. Helicopter plus airport.
Smog. Polluted fog. Smoke plus fog.
Motel. A roadside hotel for people travelling by car. Motor plus hotel.
Webinar. A seminar delivered over the internet via a designated website. Web plus seminar.
Guesstimate. An approximate calculation. Guess plus estimate. Verb to guesstimate.
Docudrama. TV program that dramatizes real historical events. Documentary plus drama.
Breathalyzer. A device to find out how much alcohol a person has drunk. Breath plus analyze.
A.
The origins of English vocabulary. Language online.
Some languages do not easily accept words from other languages into their lexicon, but English has always welcomed them. It is estimated that English vocabulary has its sources in at least 120 languages. Some languages have, of course, provided English with more words than others. English started out with a basic Anglo-Saxon word stock. Viking and Norman invaders from the 9th century onwards enriched the language enormously with large numbers of words brought from their own languages. The Vikings brought new words of Germanic origin, while the Normans spoke a form of French. Both sets of invaders had an enormous impact on English vocabulary, explaining why English may sometimes seem to have several words for the same basic concept. During the Renaissance of the 15th to the 17th centuries, scholars introduced many words of classical origin. And throughout history, English speakers' contact with the world as explorers, scientists, traders, pirates and holidaymakers has had linguistic consequences in a wealth of new words from every part of the world that they reached. These words, taken from other languages, are sometimes referred to as loan words or borrowings.
B. English words from other languages.
Arabic. Amber. Yellowy orange substance originating from tree resin and used in jewellery. For example, an amber necklace.
Dutch. Roster. List of people's turns for jobs. For example, the cooking roster.
Farsi, tabby. Grey and brown stripy cat. For example, our old tabby.
German. Gimmick. An amusing or unusual way of attracting attention. For example, advertising gimmicks.
Greek. Tonic. Medicine to make you feel stronger and better. For example, take a tonic.
Hindi. Cot. Child's bed with high vertical sides. For example, sleep in a cot.
Icelandic. Mumps, a childhood illness. For example, have mumps.
Japanese. Karaoke. Type of entertainment where ordinary people sing to popular music. For example, a karaoke machine.
Portuguese. Palaver. Unnecessary trouble. For example, what a palaver.
Russian. Intelligentsia. Social class of intellectuals. For example, 19th century intelligentsia.
Spanish. Hammock. Net hung and used as a bed. For example, sleep in a hammock.
Turkish. Turban. Type of men's headwear made from a long piece of cloth. For example, wear a turban.
C. False friends.
Some English words may look like words in your language, but have a different meaning. Such words are known as false friends. For example, the German word gift looks like the English word gift, present, but actually means poison in German. The English word sympathetic resembles a word meaning simply nice in many other European languages, but in English, sympathetic has a much narrower meaning, understanding and caring about someone else's suffering. Note also that the pronunciation of a word borrowed into English may be quite different from its pronunciation in its language of origin.
A. Words similar in form and close in meaning.
The United Nations should intervene to stop the civil war.
She shouldn't interfere in things that don't concern her.
The phone's been ringing continually. It's driving me crazy.
Stir the mixture continuously until it boils.
There's a new series on TV about space exploration.
I don't want to miss this week's episode of Oliver Twist. It's a serial. If I miss one, I'll lose track of the story.
We sat in the shade of a big oak tree.
The evening sun cast long shadows.
They lived in the shadow of a chemical factory.
She complimented me on my performance at the concert.
I took a course in programming to complement my other IT skills.
B. Words of different form but from the same area of meaning.
The cake mixture should be moist but not sticky.
The climate in the north is damp and rather cold.
The theme of the festival was 1,000 years of culture.
The topic of conversation soon changed to the news.
The security officer noticed a broken window.
The safety officer told him that he must wear a helmet.
We took a smaller road in order to avoid the roadworks on the motorway.
The escaped prisoner evaded capture for 3 months.
C. Phrasal combinations.
Phrasal verbs may have noun forms with different meanings. Verb. 6 men broke out of the prison. Noun. There was a breakout at the prison. Verb. The disease has broken out in several villages in the north of the country. Noun. There has been an outbreak of the disease in several villages in the north of the country. Verb. Economists are looking out for signs of an end to the recession. Noun. The outlook is not good. The economy seems to be stagnant. Verb. He stood at the corner looking out for police cars. Noun. He was the lookout while the others robbed the bank. Verb. The swimming club decided to set up a committee to look into the club rules. Noun. The company setup is quite complex, with branches in 30 different countries. In some cases, two verb forms have the same words in a different order and different meanings. Upend. End up. Uphold. Hold up. Outdo. Do out. Outrun. Run out. Upset. Set up.
A. Polysemy.
A great many words in English have more than one meaning. Linguists call this aspect of vocabulary polysemy. Look at these sentences and think about how you would translate the words in italics into your own language.
Fair.
It's only fair that we should share the housework.
The Frankfurt Book Fair is a very important event for most publishers.
The forecast is for the weather to stay fair for the next week.
I've got fair skin and burn easily in the sun.
His marks in his final exams ranged from excellent to fair.
Flat.
The firefighters managed to save the children from the burning third-floor flat.
The countryside round here is terribly flat and boring.
To join the fitness club, you pay a flat fee of £500.
The sonata is in B flat minor.
She finished the exercise in 5 minutes flat.
Capital.
Fill in the form in capital letters.
Wellington is the capital of New Zealand.
You need plenty of capital to open a restaurant.
Capital punishment has been abolished in many countries.
Mean.
What does coagulate mean?
I didn't mean to hurt you.
He's far too mean to buy her flowers.
The mean temperature for July is 25 degrees Celsius.
You shouldn't be so mean to your little sister.
You probably need a different word to translate fair, flat, capital and mean in each sentence. Sometimes the meanings are clearly related. Flat, as in countryside, has a connection with flat, as in apartment, in that they both include an idea of being on one level. Sometimes, however, there is no connection at all. For example, the meaning of fair, as in book fair, has no obvious connection with any of the other meanings of fair. Words like this can be called homographs, words with the same spellings but different meanings.
B. Being aware of polysemy.
It is useful to be aware of polysemy in English for several reasons. You need to remember that the meaning you first learnt for a word may not be the one that it has in a new context. You need to be aware that in English, words can sometimes be used as different parts of speech. Flat, with its apartment meaning, for instance, can become an adjective, for example, a set of flat keys. Learning about the range of meanings that a word can have can help you to learn several meanings for the price of one. It will also help you to understand jokes in English, as these are often based on polysemous words.
A. Adjective plus noun collocations. Nouns often have typical adjectives which go with them. Here are some examples. Compare thing and article. We say, the real thing. We don't usually say, the genuine thing. We say, the genuine article. We don't usually say, the real article. I don't like five-a-side football. I prefer the real thing.
These trainers are the genuine article. Those others are just cheap imported copies.
You can give a broad summary of something.
You can describe something in great detail.
Some adjectives go with a restricted range of nouns. For example, a formidable opponent or a formidable reputation or a formidable task, or a formidable challenge. B. Verb plus adverb collocations. Often, verbs have typical adverbs that collocate with them. The lines here show which collocations are normal. She always walks too fast. She always walks too quickly.
Let's move fast. Let's move quickly. Let's move swiftly on to the next point.
It's something I feel strongly about.
If I remember rightly, it happened at about 6:30.
C. Adverb plus adjective collocations.
It is useful to learn which adverbs most typically modify particular types of adjectives. For example, the adverb utterly, which means totally or completely, very frequently occurs before adjectives with negative connotations, although it can also be used with neutral or positive words. Typical examples are appalling, dismal, depressed, disgusting, distasteful, exhausted, false, fatuous, impossible, lost, ludicrous, naive, pointless, ridiculous, unacceptable, useless, wrong. Try to notice this kind of regularity when learning words.
D. Verb plus object collocations.
Verbs and their objects often form collocations. You raise your hand to ask a question. You can raise a family. You can visit, or go to, or click on, or check out a website.
A. What are metaphors?
Metaphor is concerned with using words in abstract rather than literal ways. It is a way of expressing something by comparing it indirectly with something else that has similar characteristics. If we call a city a jungle, for example, we are using a metaphor. We are suggesting that a city is like a jungle in that it is wild and full of dangers.
If we say that someone lights up our life, we are using a metaphor. We are suggesting that person is like a light in our life, in that they make our life brighter and happier.
B. Idioms and metaphors. Many idioms are metaphorical expressions which are in common use. For example, be on the ball, to keep someone or something on a tight rein. Some of the most common idiom metaphors are based on parts of the body. So we might say that a building is in the heart of the city. We can call the place where a river joins the sea its mouth, and the person in charge of an organization its head. If you say that someone has an eye for a bargain, you mean they are good at finding a bargain. If you keep a close eye on someone or something, you watch them carefully. If you say that something is in safe hands, you mean that the person in charge is capable. If you say that something goes hand in hand with something else, you mean that they exist together and are interconnected. For example, rights go hand in hand with responsibilities. If you talk about doing something using a rule of thumb, you mean you are calculating something in a way that is not exact, but will allow you to be accurate enough. C. Common metaphorical concepts in English.
Many words in English are so frequently used in a metaphorical way that English speakers may no longer notice that they are metaphors. Here are some examples. Intelligence and understanding are equated with light. For example, a clever person is called bright, and a less intelligent person, dim. If you see the light, you understand something. To cast light on something means making it easier to understand. For example, the discovery of the poet's letters has cast light on his troubled relationship with his brother. Intensity of feeling or passion is equated with temperature. Someone who is enthusiastic at one time and not at another, is said to blow hot and cold. If someone is hot-headed, then they react quickly on the basis of their feelings without thinking first. If you call someone cold-hearted, then you think they are without feeling. The movement of people or traffic is equated with the movement of water. We can, for example, talk of people flooding or trickling out of a hall, or say there was a constant stream of traffic past the window. Time is likened to money. Both are seen as commodities that can be spent or wasted or used profitably. You can also talk about investing time, using it in a way that you think will pay dividends in future. Business is likened to a military operation. Strategies, tactics, and campaigns are used in both contexts. So a company might launch an advertising campaign, for example, or work on its marketing strategy.
A. When things go right.
If something worked like a dream, this means a plan succeeded absolutely perfectly. If something went or ran like clockwork, this means it went smoothly with no difficulties. If something is up and running, this means it has begun to work as planned. If something is falling into place, this means it is on the point of starting to work well. If something is looking up, this means it is looking very positive.
B. When things go wrong. Reacting in conversation.
Oh no, that's all we need. Oh no, that's all we needed.
That's the last thing I wanted to hear.
This is like a bad dream.
It's a real nightmare. It's my worst nightmare.
What a pain.
C. Confusing situations or situations you don't understand.
Her sudden question threw me completely.
The meeting was a complete shambles.
It's a mystery to me how people know about my private life.
I'm sorry, we must have got our wires crossed. I thought the meeting was at 11, not 10:30.
I'm not with you. You've lost me there.
D. Happiness and sadness.
To be on top of the world, or on cloud 9, or over the moon. To be extremely happy. To be in your element, or to be made for. To be ideally suited for. To be fed up to the back teeth. To be extremely unhappy, disappointed. To be down in the dumps, or down in the mouth. To be depressed.
A. Learning phrasal verbs.
There are a great many phrasal verbs in English, and many learners find them particularly difficult to master. The best way to learn them is in context. When you come across one, write it down in an example sentence. There are a couple of important points to remember about phrasal verbs. Firstly, a verb plus preposition or particle combination may have more than one meaning. Come across, for example, can also mean give an impression of being, as in, he can come across as unfriendly when you first meet him. Come over can also be used with the same meaning, as in, he can come over as unfriendly. Secondly, it is sensible to concentrate first on understanding phrasal verbs rather than using them. There is usually an alternative way in which you can say the same thing using a single verb. So, for example, instead of put forward a plan, you can propose a plan. And instead of rush into a decision, you can make a hasty decision.
B. The verb.
A very large number of phrasal verbs are formed using common verbs such as come, do, get, or go, for instance. Here are some more examples with come.
I hope our plans to visit Russia come off.
Sandro's family came over from Italy for the wedding.
I wouldn't usually say something like that. I don't know what came over me.
The proposal has come under a lot of criticism.
If the opportunity to work in the US comes up, you must take it.
Our plan has come up against some obstacles.
C. The preposition or particle.
The second part of a phrasal verb is a preposition or particle. This can sometimes help you understand the meaning of the phrasal verb. For example, on can often convey an idea of continuing over a period of time.
Selena decided to stay on at university and do a master's degree.
Try not to dwell on the past.
I didn't expect platform shoes to catch on.
I wish she'd stop going on about her new car.
The crowd was urging the runners on.
The weather was terrible, but the climbers pressed on regardless.
D. Phrasal verbs in topics. It can be useful to learn phrasal verbs in sets connected with a topic. Here, for example, are some from the context of work. I need to brush up on my computer skills for my new job.
The company laid off half its staff during the recession.
Tomorrow's meeting has been called off because Jack is ill.
Sasha has thrown himself into his new job.
It took me a few weeks to settle in at my new office.
It took me ages to put together the report.
A. Different kinds of associations. We often associate words with something that is not obvious from the literal meaning of the word. The dove, for example, is a white bird that has associations with peace. So if a journalist calls a politician a dove, they are suggesting that he or she is a peacemaker. Similarly, they might call a more aggressive, hardline politician a hawk, a bird which hunts its prey. Some associations, like those of dove and hawk, will be shared by most speakers of English, and they may even be included in a good dictionary for learners. Sometimes associations are not the same for all native speakers of the same language, but may vary from one geographical area to another. Black cats, for example, have associations with good luck in Britain, but with bad luck in the USA. Many associations are purely personal. Someone who had a bad experience of dogs in childhood may think of a dog as being fierce and frightening, whereas for others, dogs may represent loyalty and friendship. The most commonly shared association of the word dog in English is faithfulness. However, the phrase a dog's life is used to refer to a very unhappy and unpleasant life. B. Understanding associations.
Journalists, advertisers and other writers or speakers who want to interest and entertain their audience often make use of word associations. A fashion advert might ask, for example, "Would you like to have that Paris look?" which draws on the associations of Paris with glamour and style. Or someone might refer to cowboy builders, meaning builders who are not careful or trustworthy. It might seem difficult at first to understand this kind of language, but your knowledge both of the world and of the primary meanings of words will help you. Paris, for example, is known throughout the world as a centre of high fashion, and it is quite possible that the name Paris is associated with glamour in your own language too. If you have seen a Western, you will have seen how cowboys often behave in a careless and dishonest way. Think, for example, about the words shark, scar, and diamond. You probably know their literal meanings. A large sea creature with sharp teeth. A mark left on the skin after a cut has healed. And a precious stone, respectively. But what associations do you think they have for English speakers in general? What might someone mean if they said the following?
They're all sharks in that garage.
I think that new office block is a scar on the landscape.
Emma's a real diamond.
The idea of sharks as sharp-toothed creatures with an aggressive reputation should help you to understand that the speaker does not like the garage. The fact that a scar is a mark of a wound on something that was once unspoilt should help you to appreciate that the speaker does not like the new office block. The beauty and high value of a diamond as a precious stone should help you to see that the speaker has a high opinion of Emma.
A. Formal and informal words. Some words are formal or informal, and others are quite neutral.
Is your partner not with you today? Is your other half not with you today?
Rick's a really nice bloke. Rick's a really nice guy.
She is able to converse with everyone, which is a great gift.
Sometimes it is possible to arrange words into sets of neutral, formal, and informal words.
Neutral. TV or television. Informal. The box or the telly. Neutral. Glasses. Formal. Spectacles. Informal. Specs. Neutral. Clothes. Formal. Clothing or garments. Informal. Gear. Neutral. Use. Formal. Employ or utilize. Neutral. Try. Formal. Endeavour or attempt. Informal. Have a go. Have a stab. Have a bash. Have a crack. Have a shot at.
B. Speech and writing.
Some words are more associated with either spoken or written language. It is worth noting if a word has a particularly strong association with speech or writing. Subsequently. Writing. Linking adverb. In speech, more likely to be later or afterwards. For example, the police found some important clues. Subsequently, 3 people were arrested.
In sum. Writing. Linking expression. Means to sum up. For example, in sum, we may say that most, but not all, English adverbs end in "ly".
What's his name? What's her name? Speech. Vague word. Used when we cannot remember the name of a person. For example, I met what's her name at the party. You know, the woman who works at the university.
Thingy. Speech. Vague word. Used as a noun of people and things whose name one cannot remember. For example, give me that thingy there. Yes, that bottle opener.
Mind you. Speech. Discourse marker. Used to bring attention to an important point. For example, he's a good actor. Mind you, he should be. He went to the best drama college.
Now then. Speech. Discourse marker. Used to get people's attention when you want to ask or tell them something. For example, now then, is everybody's luggage here?
C. Outdated words.
Some words and expressions may be correct, but may sound archaic, outdated, or old-fashioned. For example, asylum, frock, wireless, consumption, eyeglasses.
Very few words and expressions are used exclusively in either British or American English, and you are likely to hear and read words from both varieties.
A. Streets and roads.
Street has a wider range of meaning in American English.
Let's cross the street here. There's more traffic further down.
However, a British speaker would normally say cross the road, especially in a busy city. Here are some more examples of American English words and expressions not used in British English. The British English expressions are given in square brackets.
Go 2 blocks down and the car rental office is kitty corner to the gas station.
You should always use the crosswalk to cross the street.
There's a trail that leads down to the creek.
Take a left here and you'll come to the interstate after about 3 miles.
After the intersection, look for a sign saying International Airport.
I hit a shopping cart in the parking lot when I was backing up.
Look for the overpass and then take the next exit for downtown Chicago.
B. Educational terminology.
My older brother never went to college.
My older brother never went to university.
What courses are you taking next semester?
What modules are you taking next semester? What modules are you taking next term?
Are you a freshman?
No, I'm a sophomore.
Are you a fresher? Are you a first-year student?
No, I'm a second year.
Most of my friends are juniors.
Most of my friends are third years. Most of my friends are third-year students.
She's majoring in French.
She's doing honours in French. She's doing a French honours degree.
My professors are all very friendly.
My lecturers are all very friendly.
I want to be an elementary school teacher.
I want to be a primary school teacher.
My years in high school were not very happy.
My years in secondary school were not very happy.
C. Around the home.
This cable is the ground.
This cable is the earth.
We need a dumpster to put all this old stuff in.
We need a skip to put all this old stuff in.
The faucet in the kitchen never stops dripping.
The tap in the kitchen never stops dripping.
I have to cook for 5 people, so we need a big stove.
I have to cook for 5 people, so we need a big cooker.
I fried the fish in a skillet.
I fried the fish in a frying pan.
A. Gender awareness and vocabulary.
In professional contexts and elsewhere, we often take care to use gender-neutral language in English. David Crystal, in the Cambridge Encyclopedia of the English Language, writes,
Attention has been focused on the replacement of male words with a generic meaning by neutral items. Chairman, for example, becoming chair or chairperson, though not without controversy. Or salesman becoming sales assistant. In certain cases, such as job descriptions, the use of sexually neutral language has become a legal requirement. There is continuing debate between extremists and moderates as to how far such revision should go, whether they should affect traditional idioms such as man in the street and Neanderthal man, or apply to parts of words where the male meaning of man is no longer dominant, such as manhandle and woman. The vocabulary of marital status has also been affected, notably in the introduction of ms as a neutral alternative to miss or Mrs.
Here are some examples of gender-neutral variations of vocabulary. Spokesman, spokesperson, fireman, firefighter, policeman, police officer, air hostess, flight attendant, cleaning lady, cleaner, foreman, supervisor, man-made, artificial, mankind, the human race or human beings, to man, a machine or place of work, to staff.
B. Words referring to men and women.
Male, female. Used for gender classification in biology. For example, male and female bees.
Masculine, feminine. Having qualities traditionally felt to be typically male or female. For example, masculine pride, feminine charm.
Guy, bloke. Informal words for a man. For example, Jack's a really nice guy.
Guys, an informal word for men and women, especially in the phrase you guys, as a way of addressing people directly. For example, do any of you guys fancy going out for a pizza tonight?
Girlfriend. Used by women to refer to a female friend. For example, I'm meeting up with a few girlfriends this evening.
Girly. Used to describe things that girls and young women often enjoy without men, especially involving clothes, makeup, etc. For example, they're having a girly evening at home.
Lad. Informal word for a boy or young man. For example, he's having a night out with some of the lads tonight.
Laddish. Used to describe unpleasant behaviour thought to be typical of young men in a group, especially drinking alcohol. For example, I can't stand that kind of laddish behaviour.
Macho. Used to describe a man who likes to appear strong and doesn't show his feelings. For example, he refuses to cry. It would spoil his macho image.
A. Features of headline language.
If a story hits the headlines, it suddenly receives a lot of attention in the news. Here are two typical examples of headlines from tabloid newspapers with comments on their use of language.
Expert reveals new cloud dangers.
Articles, prepositions, and auxiliary verbs are often omitted from headlines. This use of the present simple instead of the past tense makes the story sound more immediate. The use of language is often ambiguous. It is not entirely clear, for example, what cloud refers to here. It is actually about the dangers of storing electronic information on a cloud, but it could have referred to dangers relating to the weather. Readers have to look at the story in order to find out. Words with dramatic associations, such as danger, are often used.
TV star tragic target for crazed gunman.
This story is about how a well-known television actor was shot by a mentally unstable killer. In order to attract readers' attention, tabloid newspapers often feature celebrities, for example, film or pop stars, and sports personalities. Alliteration, such as TV star tragic target, is often used to attract the eye in headlines and to make them sound more memorable. Newspapers tend to use strong, simple words such as gunman in order to express an idea or image as briefly and as vividly as possible. Strongly emotional words like crazed are often used to attract attention.
B. Violent words.
Violent and militaristic words are often used in headlines, especially in tabloid newspapers, in order to make stories seem more dramatic. For example, people who cause trouble may be referred to as thugs, yobs, or louts.
EU acts to crush terror of thugs.
Crack down on soccer louts.
Palace besieged by journalists.
Typhoon rips through town.
C. Playing with words.
Many newspaper headlines attract readers' attention by playing on words in an entertaining way. For example, a story about a very heavy rainstorm, which caused a landslide on a narrow mountain road, was headlined Reign of Terror. This headline was a play on words based on the expression Reign of Terror, an expression used about a period in which a country's ruler controls people in a particularly cruel way. Another example is the use of the headline Moon becomes shooting star to describe a football match where a player called John Moon shot the winning goal. Shooting star is an informal expression for a meteor. Here, it is used to play on the expression shoot a goal, and also to link to the player's name, Moon. The headline is particularly effective because of the association between star and moon in the sky.
A. Characteristics of bureaucratic language.
A student shall not be eligible for a loan in relation to an academic year if he or she, A, has attained the age of 50 years before the first day of the course, B, has received another loan in relation to the same academic year, C, has received another loan in relation to another academic year which began during the same period, 1st of August to the following 31st of July, during which the academic year began. D is eligible in respect of that year to receive 1. Any payment under a bursary or award of similar description bestowed on him or her under Section 63 of the Health Services and Public Health Act 1968, Section 2, the amount of which is not calculated by reference to his or her income.
Your request to demolish the garage adjoining your property is hereby rejected. Any and all appeals regarding this decision must be submitted to the undersigned by January 31st, 2018. No exceptions to the aforementioned procedure will be considered.
Some publications produced by companies or government departments are difficult to understand because they use language that is very different from everyday English. They frequently use words that are longer and grander than their ordinary equivalents. They often use a passive form instead of an active one. For example, normal service will be resumed as soon as possible, instead of we will resume normal service as soon as possible. They use nouns as the subject of the sentence when they are not necessary. For example, achievement of this module is dependent upon candidates meeting the assessment outcomes, instead of to achieve this module, candidates must meet the assessment outcomes. They use a noun instead of you. For example, customers will be informed of, instead of you will be informed of, or even we will tell you about. These words are more frequent in a bureaucratic context.
Work will commence in May.
The company ceased operations last year.
Property belonging to the deceased will be returned to the next of kin.
In the event of an emergency, call 121.
In the event of fire, the building must be evacuated immediately.
Tenants must endeavour to keep communal areas tidy at all times.
The developments will facilitate movement of traffic in the area.
Residents will be instructed what to do in the event of an emergency.
The project will proceed to the next phase in June.
We are currently attempting to rectify the situation.
Normal service will be resumed as soon as possible.
B.
Bureaucratic correspondence. There is some specific vocabulary that characterises bureaucratic letters.
Please acknowledge receipt of payment.
With the compliments of Smith & Co.
Please notify us immediately of any change of address.
I would be grateful for a reply at your earliest convenience.
Contact us if further clarification is required.
I enclose payment in respect of your invoice.
I am writing with regard to your advertisement.